Hi guys, Gareth here and welcome to this Vino Plunk production, and today I bring to you the greatest DVD Blu-ray update of all time. Obviously I'm joking, but I thought I'd start this video off by taking the piss and probably pissing off a fraction of my audience by saying that every single time I see somebody do a DVD or Blu-ray update and say, this is the biggest Blu-ray DVD update ever, whenever you say that, I automatically click off, because with all due respect, it is literally a dick measuring contest at that point. You are literally saying, you know, my dick is this long this time, or this long this time, or that long this time. It doesn't matter. I understand there are certain people that get enthusiastic, shall we say, how big of an update they do on a specific occasion, but it's not a contest, guys. Just having the biggest collection, it's not a contest, at least not to my eyes, it's a contest. You guys do what you wish to do, but I'm just saying to you that each time I see in the title or when I click on a DVD or Blu-ray update and someone says, the biggest Blu-ray DVD update of all time, sorry, at that point I'm going to click away. Having said that, I'm going to now be a complete hypocrite, a ironic hypocrite in some regards, and say to you I have been sort of holding off on doing this Blu-ray / DVD update. To be honest with you, there are... Oh, I've just damaged one of the things I'm going to update. Spoilers alert! So, one thing led to another, and I haven't updated you on some of the bits and bobs that I was going to update you on, so why not do it in one big DVD update? So I have around me loaded DVDs and Blu-rays, and I also have in this bag, which is rather heavy, CEX bag, which is full of Blu-rays and DVDs, some of which I could actually buy from CEX and some which I bought on the internet. So the first thing I am presented with in the bag of DVDs and Blu-rays is the Alien vs Predator, or the Alien / Predator Total Destruction, the Ultimate DVD Collection. And this is all four Alien films, the 2 Predator films, and then the 2 Alien vs Predator films. That's a bit of a mouthful. By the way, there is going to be closer looks on these later on. I'm just doing an update for now, just showing you what these are all about. So this basically contains Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, Predator 1, Predator 2, Alien vs Predator, and Alien vs Predator 2 Requiem. So that contains everything you're ever going to need. Now, I do own Alien 1 to 4 on DVD and Blu-ray, for that matter, as you'll find out very quickly. But hey ho, I now own them in this big monster collection. Monster, get it? Anyway, moving on. Next up is, I have shown this off briefly. This is a reacquisition, and it is the Alien Anthology Blu-ray set, which I think everybody should own. If you're a Alien fan, you should own this box set. Don't go for the other Alien Anthology Blu-ray box set, the one with only 4 discs in it, because it is, in my opinion, a cheap implementation or imitation of this set. This is the 6-disc set, which contains 2 discs of special features, plus the 4 film discs are also loaded with special features. This is the one you want to get. This is the one with the hard outer box and the digipack. You can also get this with a standard Blu-ray Amaray case, but this is the one you want to get, personally, from my point of view. Next up, we have another reacquisition, and this is the Tim Burton collection. So this contains on it Batman, Batman Returns, Beetlejuice, Mars Attacks, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, and Tim Burton's Corpse Bride. So there we go. It contains basically pretty much all of his Warner Brothers films up until the point of the release of this particular set. There is a Tim Burton director's set you can get hold of, which I do believe contains all of his films, but I think last time I looked it was £150–200, so it's a bit steep. If you want to get the Blu-ray version of that, this runs for about £15–20, so to me it's far more affordable. Next up, and this is actually my most recent acquisition, I actually went down to a place called Ross Records today to pick this up. Not specifically to pick this up, I was actually picking up a prescription for the ear infection I mentioned in a video, in my last video actually. And I popped into Ross Records because it's literally just up from the doctor's surgery / chemist. I went and got my prescription filled or tended to. And I decided to pop to Ross Records, and another reacquisition. This is Blade the series. Now, a lot of people gave this series some shit because it doesn't star Wesley Snipes. It stars Sticky Fingers, or is he Kirk? I think his name's Kirk Jones or something like that, his real name. He's a rapper turned actor. He's been in quite a few films over the years. And by the way, guys, don't give this shit. During the production of this, Wesley Snipes was in jail for tax evasion, so they couldn't get Wesley Snipes involved. Apparently at one point he was going to do a cameo in this. On another note, I don't think he was ever due to star as Blade in it, but he was due to do a cameo, which of course he couldn't do because he was in prison at the time. However, give this a go. It is a damn good series, and if you're a fan of Blade, I think you'll be a fan of this series, because to me it is, in some respects, Blade on steroids. Funny thing about this series is here in the UK this was shown on Channel 5. They only showed the first 3 episodes on telly, and at the end of episode 3 it came with a blurb at the end basically saying that they can't show the rest of the episodes on TV because it's too graphic. It does actually say on the back, too graphic for TV there. Yeah, basically, long story short, I had to buy, when I originally bought this, I had to buy this on DVD to watch the rest of it, which is pretty shit in my eyes, but hey ho, I finally did manage to watch the whole series. I've watched this series through 3 or 4 times. I love that series quite a bit. So this is another reacquisition, and this is another set that I think every fan of this particular film should get, and that is the Blade Runner 5-disc Ultimate Collection tin, whatever you want to call it. Now, I will say at this point, this has been re-released or redone on Blu-ray. There is a Blu-ray version of the set out there. Having said that, it seems to fluctuate in price violently and seems to go in and out of print quite frequently, so this one is still relatively cheap. However, one thing I have noticed, and why I decided now to get this back into the collection, as you can see it cost me £15 from CX, is that this is actually going for a pretty penny on eBay. I found this go for upwards of £60 on eBay, so I thought, while it's a relatively decent price at CX, I'll pick it up. The thing about CX is they do tend to regulate their prices based upon eBay. So as soon as they notice this is now £60 on eBay, they're going to up the price of it, I promise you. So if you have a CX nearby, or if you want to search for this on eBay, hopefully in your local area it's cheaper, I'd start picking it up. This is the tin version of the 5-disc set. That's the actual 5-disc set in there. You can get this without the tin, but you don't get this like lenticular film cell thing. That's the only thing you don't get, and of course you don't get the tin. But it's up to you. I still highly recommend this, and for £15 I think it's a bargain. Bit of a steal, if you get me, considering it's a steel tin. Anyway, next up is a series of films. This is a Blu-ray box set. It's a series of films I have never watched until the other day. I actually was testing these discs out and actually ended up watching the first film. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Indiana Jones, The Complete Adventures, I think it's called. There we go, from the side. I've never seen an Indiana Jones film, and so many people talk highly, in high regard, about Indiana Jones, and I thought, hey, I'm going to check out some Indiana Jones. I was testing out Raiders of the Lost Ark the other day, and I ended up watching Raiders of the Lost Ark. I quite enjoyed it, to be completely honest. I will say it is a product of its time. It does seem a bit dated in this day and age, but hey ho, it's Indiana Jones. It's a bit of fun, to be completely honest. This does contain all of the Indiana Jones films up until the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and I will be watching the rest of them very soon, I should imagine. Next up is another reacquisition. This set I don't think requires much introduction, but I'm going to give it a bit of an introduction. Anyway, this is a set that used to go for a pretty penny. Then all of a sudden it tanked in price. Now I don't know whether the Blu-ray releases of these specific films caused that to happen, or maybe another super duper set came out and this no longer garnered the same sort of price that it did. But I remember this costing a pretty penny back in the day. However, nowadays you can get it for £4 CX. This is the Matrix Ultimate Collection, and it contains The Matrix Reloaded, Revolutions, and The Matrix Experience. There are 9 discs in this puppy, and it's probably one of the most complete Matrix sets out there. So if you're a Matrix fan, get this set basically, and you can't complain for £4, to be honest. Next up is, if I can get both these out the bag, I'm going to put the receipt back in there. Next up, these are both reacquisitions, and one of these is looking pretty gnarly actually. Didn't realise it looked that gnarly when I picked it up in CX, but hey. These are both reacquisitions. These are both sets I've owned several times. It is Band of Brothers on Blu-ray and The Pacific on Blu-ray. As far as I'm concerned, these two go hand in hand, along with Saving Private Ryan. Some people disagree, some people won't even acknowledge The Pacific exists, which I don't understand personally, because to me The Pacific is just as good as Band of Brothers. It's actually different, I would say, than Band of Brothers, but some people won't even admit its existence, which seems a bit strange to me. But you know, Band of Brothers was the original, you know, mini-series, as they call it, and if you've never seen Band of Brothers, get your ass into a store at some point or to online and order yourself a copy on DVD or Blu-ray, doesn't really matter. I will say the Blu-ray of Band of Brothers is a show-off Blu-ray. It's one of those Blu-rays you stick in and say, this is the kind of quality Blu-ray can give you. So they are. It is an amazing set and an amazing show, both together. So, the final acquisition in terms of what I bought recently, this is another series of films I have never watched that people seem to rave about, and in fact every single time I say to people, oh, I haven't seen any of those films, they roll their eyes. So finally I have the set and I'm going to watch through them, and that is the Fast and Furious films. This is the first 7 films, obviously there's only 8 at the moment, but this is the first 7 films. The reason why I went for this set is A, the 8 film set seems a bit pricey at the moment, and B, I wanted this specific packaging, not for the car, but if I open the flap and show you this is the packaging I wanted. It's actually a digibook. I'm not going to get it all out right now, but it's actually a digibook. It's quite similar to the US, I think it's called the Ultimate Thrill Ride Edition. It's very similar to that release, if you know about that, except it's a little bit different and it's actually more cheaply made. To be completely honest with you, for the longest time I wondered why this set was so cheap. It used to be quite expensive, it's now quite cheap. To be honest, I can see why. I only paid £20 for this, and I'm glad I only paid £20 for this, because to be honest I'd be a bit disappointed if I paid much more for this. Having said that, there are parts of this set that are very well put together. Hey ho, at the end of the day it's about the films, not necessarily the box set, but I'm glad I finally pulled the trigger and bought this set. I'm going to try and put this back into this box, which I frequently have problems doing so. There we go. Next up is, I'm going to show you this. This is a set that I've already shown off on camera. In fact, I'm into great depths on the particular video I did, but I did get the Sopranos on Blu-ray a while ago. I got a really good price in this, both. Okay, so if you haven't seen my original video, basically I thought this was a fake set because it does look very shoddy. This isn't the best well put together set, especially from HBO, and you consider the kind of sets that they put together. This is rather shoddy. However, I found out it is actually a legit set. I'm still a bit disappointed with HBO, but hey ho, they're a company. They got to make money and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so I originally got this for a damn good price anyway. And when I basically told the seller that I think it's a fake set, they gave me even more money off. So I got this for a steal, to be completely honest with you. Considering how much this goes for, I got this for a steal. So I'm not going to moan too much, but that is The Sopranos on Blu-ray. Another HBO set. I'm slowly building back up my HBO collection. Next up are a couple of game pickups that I might as well throw in here. The first game I picked up was Battlefront 2. I picked it up a few weeks ago, but maybe a month ago now. I still say that it's a pretty good game, despite what you may think of the other bits and bobs of the game. I did speak about this in the last video, but I didn't actually show you. I did pick up the 2018 edition of God of War. I given my views on that game in the last video. I have played it more since then, and at some point there will be a more in-depth review style video at some point. The final things I might as well throw into this update video, because I haven't actually shown these off individually yet, and that is all of the Game of Thrones box sets that I did pick up over the last... I actually picked them all up in a month, which I will say at this point on camera was a bad idea, because it skinned me, to be honest, and I had to do some things to get by that month. So, Season 1 on Blu-ray. There's not really much else to say. I've gone for the individual releases of Game of Thrones because I wanted the specific packagings the individual releases give you. Once again, I will say be careful with Game of Thrones. There are fakes out there. I will say that every single time I bring up Game of Thrones on Blu-ray or DVD, because eBay is rampant with fakes. Do your research, guys. Please do your research. So this is the first season. There are two versions of the first season, which I have said before. You can't tell which is which unless you watch them. Basically, in a certain scene on a bridge, there are three heads, and in one version, the three heads are of the three producers. One of the heads, I think, is a black head, a black-skinned individual, and people lost their shit over it or something like that. So they changed the head to just generic heads, and yeah, it's a gamble to which set you got. It doesn't really matter. Some people do try and seek out the original first season, but it's you're not going to know unless you watch the particular episode they're in. The second season of Game of Thrones on Blu-ray, which is in far better condition than the first one, but that's what happens with eBay. It's a bit of a gamble, a bit of a lottery, if you will. The third season of Game of Thrones on Blu-ray, and what I can say about this one is this pisses a lot of people off and triggers their OCD, so to speak, because it's very, very different to the other packaging. So that's quite interesting in my eyes, because I don't suffer from OCD, so that I find quite funny, actually. Next up is the fourth season of Game of Thrones, and this is where you begin to think, okay, HBO, are you, how can I put this, are you like an indecisive child? You're not sure if you want to continue with the, now white theme of things, or you want to go back to the black theme of things. Well, okay, maybe going back to the black theme of things. Okay, so we've got this nice crust on the front, all that kind of stuff. That is season 4. Okay, so we're going back to the black theme. Are we, HBO? Oh, wait, no, season 5. Oh, okay, so we're going back to the custom way of doing things. Okay, alright, no worries. Season 5 of Game of Thrones on Blu-ray. I'm not saying much about the individual seasons because there's not much to say, really. I've only seen season 1 myself, so... So, we're going to stick with the custom sets, are we? Well, to me, season 6 is a bit of a halfway house. They've sort of gone back to the darker, more sleeker look, but they got this nice lenticular cover, and it looks pretty suave. Pretty nice, actually. So they're going to continue on with this custom, non-black cases, are they? Oh, wait. For season 7, they've gone back to the black style, sleeker, maybe cases. But however, this is slimmer than the rest. Well, actually, it's the same size. Oh, it's slightly slimmer than Season 6. But yeah, I will agree with some people that it is a little strange how HBO have, you know, as I said, they seem like an indecisive toddler flitting between different designs, you know, when it comes to all of the releases. But hey ho, I was to go the individual route, and as I said, it does really bother me. It does bother some people. There's some quite heated YouTube videos I've watched of people getting quite irate about the individual releases of Game of Thrones. Anyway, guys, I don't think I have any more Blu-rays or DVDs to show you. I could technically throw in my Harry Potter Hogwarts collection that is up there on top of that shelf, because I did technically buy that, you know, within the last few months. But hey ho, I've shown that set off before. There are going to be closer looks at all of these sets coming as soon as I get my ass into gear to film those. There is also a closer look at the fake Beatles stereo box set coming at some point. I would just like to say that because I did promise that to somebody. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this rather in-depth, long, the greatest Blu-ray DVD update ever. Also, I also got the Game of Thrones Conquest and Rebellion Blu-ray thing that talks about the history of Westeros. Hey, interesting stuff. So I'm going to very quickly sign out now because my battery is about to die on the camera, or the battery I've currently got installed in the camera, and I'd rather get this video done. So if you could for me, guys, like, dislike, subscribe. It's big, it's free. Oh bugger, the battery's about to die. So subscribe, like, dislike, comment, rate, quotation marks, bell icon, and I'll see you next video. Bye guys.